Burundians accuse the ruling party youth wing of human rights violations. Why is the U.S. state of Wisconsin's voter ID law mired in controversy? And it's a wrap. Jon Stewart steps down from The Daily Show. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Esther Gido-Ewart. This is Africa 54. Vincent Makori is off today. The United Nations Human Rights Office is warning that widespread violence and human rights violations in Burundi has the country on the brink of civil war, and the region is on edge. The UN official has also documented cases of arbitrary arrests and murder of opposition figures, protesters and activists carried out by the country's National Intelligence Service. VOA's Mohammed Yusuf has our report.
This young man in his early 20s meets a local human rights defender away from the public. He asks us to hide his identity for fear of reprisals. He says that he and his friends were threatened one afternoon with unspecified consequences if they did not join the ruling party's youth wing movement known as Imbonerakure. Then he decided to leave the country. At the border, he was arrested with 4 others.
They arrested us and asked us what we were going to do in Rwanda. I said we were going to visit someone. I could not say that I was leaving the country for fear they will beat me up. We even tried to give them some money to free us, but they refused.
For more than 3 weeks, he says he and 28 others were held in this prison without trial. Human rights groups have accused Burundian security forces and the Imbonerakure militia group of attacking and intimidating the population during the recent heated election period. Buchumi Vital, the Imbonerakure executive secretary in Kirundo province, admits to having stopped and questioned people fleeing, but denies arresting anyone.
As the ruling party, we must ask why the population fled the country while there is peace. It was not good to see people fleeing. That's why we had to ask them the reason they were fleeing.
But local human rights activists have documented dozens of arrests. Security forces accuse some of the youths of planning to join renegade soldiers who fled the country. Human rights activist Noel Ntanandakura says at times Imbonerakure played the role of police by arresting people.
People were arrested at the border points. People told us there were barriers on the border guarded by the youth movement of the ruling party, the Imbonerakure, in collaboration with the police.
Human rights organizations and aid agencies warn of escalation of the situation in Burundi after months of political uncertainty. And world leaders have called for an end to violence and for talks to begin to end months of political crisis. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Kirundo, Burundi.
Now to the European crisis where there is a migrant crisis. More migrants rescued in the Mediterranean Sea are arriving in Italy at a Sicilian port Friday. They were among hundreds of people on a ship that capsized north of Libya nearly 2 days ago. Searchers have been looking for hundreds of others feared drowned. The International Organization for Migration says more than 2,000 migrants from North Africa and the Middle East have died this year attempting to reach European shores. A new Islamic State affiliate is claiming responsibility for killing 15 people in a suicide bombing at a Saudi mosque used by security forces. The group, calling itself the Hijaz province of the Islamic State, says it carried out Thursday's attack at as worshippers prayed at the mosque in the southern city of Aba near the border with Yemen. The UN Security Council issued a statement condemning the terrorist attack and stressing the need to defeat the Islamic State group. The militant group says it will launch more strikes against tyrants in the Arabian Peninsula in the coming days. Now, this week on Africa 54, we've highlighted U.S. President Barack Obama's Mandela Washington Fellows Program, and today we have 2 excellent profiles on yearly participants. Chinomso Ibe's inspiration to become a midwife and then to find a way to help mothers and newborns have a greater chance at life during birth came from the complications her mother had giving birth to her. VOA's Philip Alexiou has our report.
Mandela Washington Fellow from the Presidential Precinct.
My name is Grace Alacha Jerry. I am from Nigeria. I am here at the College of William and Mary, University of Virginia, the Presidential Precinct, studying civic leadership.
The philosophers get ready to learn the wisdom of Africa.
I am a professional singer, that's a singer-songwriter, a musician, and I am also a disability rights advocate.
I just wanna jump and shout. I just wanna live my voice and give you all melody.
Come on! I use music, I use art, I use drama, to give face and voice, to the issues of disability. It's been 13 years that I've been on the wheelchair, but I would say that it's been 13 amazing years. My life is all about service and reaching out. I'm also privileged to have, held the role of the first ever Miss Wheelchair Nigeria Queen on the African soil in Nigeria. One of the major challenges that persons with disability have faced in Nigeria is, discrimination and then exclusion from a lot of development work. We have, architectural challenges, environmental challenges. When I got here to America, I have never felt free, for the past 13 years like I felt, when I came here. Because the access, my goodness, anywhere you go to, you find a ramp that's connected to the walkway, linking you to the next street, linking you to the next mall, linking you to anywhere you want to go to. And looking at this, I kept thinking about my country, Nigeria, oh my goodness, we can achieve this in Nigeria. We can make this happen.
What were they grappling with post the hurricane, and how did the cultural retentions there within the city help them to move?
Coming here to the U.S. for my leadership training with the Presidential Precinct has really opened my eyes to a lot of innovative ways that I can go back and even do what I have been doing in a more better way to bring sustainability. So going back to Nigeria, of course, it's no longer going to be business as usual. It's going to be new ways of setting up projects, programs, implementing projects and programs in a way that I know I don't have to completely rely on funders, but the program and the projects will sustain itself.
Mandela Washington Fellows from Africa, continent of Africa. We prepared dish from our various countries. I from Nigeria prepared mai. The lady from Swaziland prepared chakalaka. We prepared different African dishes basically to come, promote the taste of Africa. And to also raise funds for the Beach Arts Public Initiative Program.
Being here, I've met people from South Africa, from Ethiopia, from Tanzania, from Mozambique, and 22 African countries. Automatically, I have become friends with each of these African countries, and it's really exciting because each of these individuals have their uniqueness. They came with their uniqueness, and we're going to form even a stronger bond. And, we can change the world. We can change Africa together.
Yes, it go happen, no.
Before coming to the U.S., I wrote a song on Africa, the diversity, the beauty, the strength, of Africa. So this is a song, dedicated to all the African fellows. That yes, we can change the world. It starts from somewhere. It starts from Africa. It starts from us. It starts from me.
The world is full of Africa. Yes, we can. Sure we can.
That was Grace Jerry, a Mandela Washington Fellow for the class of 2015. Chinom Nsoibe delivered her first clean bath kit in December 2013, and her foundation had distributed 9,000 more by mid-2015.
The infant mortality rate in Africa is among the highest in the world, primarily because of unsanitary conditions. But Chinamso Ibe is on a mission to change that.
So I realized that the much I can do at the beginning was to start, giving them all that they need, the content, the health product that they need, during delivery, especially to prevent infection and bleeding.
Ibe is the CEO and founder of Trafina Foundation for Community Health, a nonprofit organization that promotes maternal and child health programs in Nigeria. The services are especially crucial in remote areas where Ibe, a midwife herself, says she's seen broken bottles used to cut umbilical cords. Ibe's Clean Birth Kit for Women contains 18 items to help midwives deliver babies in a safer, cleaner environment.
They take it and they run to the clinic and have their babies.
Inside, there's a gown for the midwife, a sterile disposable mat for the mother, sterile latex gloves, sanitary towels, soap, alcohol pads, and there's a reliable solar light.
The midwife can use this when there is no light, but every mother gets this in the kit. As part of the souvenir we give them to be able to nurse their babies at night when there is no light.
The most important items in the kit will help cut down neonatal tetanus and infection, leading causes of newborn death in Africa. They include a scalpel to cut the umbilical cord, an umbilical cord clamp, and antibiotic gel to prevent infection.
Since we started, I have trained more than 60 women who also are with me as distributors of these birth kits.
The foundation also provides these kits to clinics, which in turn gives them out to expectant mothers.
My vision is to save lives of Nigerian women, but I can't do it alone. I need people out there to make it work.
Chinamso Ibe says her time in America as a Yali Fellow at Wagner College has been a great experience and will help her push her foundation's goals further.
It's a very great platform for one to grow, ideas and innovation. Yali has given me a platform to meet you guys to talk about my work. I'm really very excited because I've also met young, innovative Africans who are ready to make a change. And I'm also very excited too that, my work is selected and seen as life-saving. So it's so amazing for me to be a Yali Fellow.
I'm VOA's Philip Alexio for Africa 54.
U.S. State Department officials faced tough questions from lawmakers after reports surfaced that America's annual report on global human trafficking had been adjusted to further the Obama administration's international agenda. VOA's Michael Bowman tells us how the controversy caught the attention of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
Human trafficking subjects vulnerable populations on multiple continents to virtual enslavement, a practice the United States fights by shaming offending nations.
As many as 27 million human beings live in conditions of modern slavery.
We have a moral imperative to speak out against trafficking. It involves labor servitude, it involves sex trafficking, it involves financing criminal activities.
In this year's Trafficking in Persons report, the countries spared from harshest judgment include Cuba, with which the United States resumed relations this year, and Malaysia, part of a proposed massive free trade pact, the Trans-Pacific Partnership championed by the Obama administration.
Many of us are concerned that the upgrading of Malaysia had more to do with trying to make sure that TPP was entered into successfully than a care for people being trafficked.
We still have enormous concerns about trafficking in Malaysia.
The State Department says Malaysia stepped up investigations and prosecutions of human trafficking.
The tier rankings do not assess the severity of a human trafficking problem in a given country. The tier rankings assess the government's efforts in addressing human trafficking problems.
The State Department insists the reporting process is done with diligence and integrity.
The Secretary of State is responsible for the Trafficking in Persons report, and he makes the decisions about tier rankings, and I think there is no one who can question the Secretary's commitment to the anti-trafficking cause.
The committee's top Democrat, Ben Cardin, said the law mandating the trafficking report could be strengthened to include congressional oversight of year-to-year adjustments in country rankings. Michael Bowman, VOA News, the Capitol.
The next U.S. presidential election is only 15 months away, and the top 10 of the 17 U.S. Republicans aiming to become president held their first debate Thursday. VOA's Jim Malone gives us his take on the night's verbal jousting.
I think the big takeaway from this first Republican debate was that Donald Trump was in the spotlight. He certainly didn't shirk from it, but he may have created some doubts among Republican voters when he was the only one of the 10 on stage who would not commit to supporting the eventual Republican Party nominee, nor would he rule out running as a third-party candidate. Now, there were some other strong performances in the debate. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, Ohio Governor John Kasich had almost a hometown advantage there, got a lot of cheering. So several people are in play here. The only one to attack Trump directly in a way was Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. I think the question moving forward is, in the next debates to come, will there be other Republicans who see sort of more interest in attacking Trump than ignoring him? Covering the 2016 presidential campaign from the VOA Newsroom, I'm Jim Malone, VOA News.
More than 30 U.S. states have enacted laws that require citizens to show some form of identification before they can vote. Against fierce opposition and after a 4-year court battle, the state of Wisconsin recently enacted one of the most restrictive voter ID laws in the country. In this latest installment of VOA's series, The Voting Rights Act at 50, Jeff Swickard reports the law is still mired in controversy.
And I'm at Juneteenth today to let people know the changes in the voting laws.
Anita Johnson is a Milwaukee community activist helping Wisconsin residents understand the recent changes in the state's voting laws.
How you doing? I'm good. How are you?
Wisconsin is one of more than 30 states where Republican legislatures and governors have enacted restrictive voting laws, some requiring a photo ID to vote.
And you know you have to show a photo ID for any upcoming election? Are you aware of that? No.
The law requires residents to show a valid driver's license, state-issued ID, or U.S. passport to vote. Documents, according to an academic study, an estimated 340,000 Wisconsin residents don't have.
The reason why this law was changed, that we now have to show voter IDs, is to stop people from voting. Plain and simple.
Wisconsin Republican Governor Scott Walker signed the voter ID law in May of 2011. He says the law is necessary to discourage voter fraud and has pledged the state will make every effort to ensure legitimate voters have the necessary ID, including offering IDs for free.
Everyone who is legitimate to vote will have easy access to do that, but we're also making it clear that we're protecting the integrity of each and every vote here in the state of Wisconsin.
But opponents say the aim is voter suppression, noting there is almost no evidence of voter fraud in the state. University of Wisconsin political scientist David Cannon says it's all part of a national battle over voter turnout.
Republicans see this as an opportunity to gain advantage in the elections by being able to limit the number of people who go to the polls, who have leanings towards the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party sees this as an effort at voter suppression.
Caught in the middle are people like 86-year-old Melvin Robertson, who has voted his entire life. Melvin does not have any of the required voter IDs. When he tried to get a copy of his birth certificate at the county courthouse, he was turned away. There is no record of his birth on file. Melvin, who has a speech impediment, told us, if you don't vote, you're not a real citizen.
You got to vote. That counts.
And we now require a photo ID to vote in this state.
Despite all the criticism, Republicans are standing firm. Republican Milwaukee County Election Commissioner Rick Bass takes issue with the idea the law is unfair to minorities.
Well, given that I'm part of that demographic, I find it offensive that it's somehow that minorities are not bright enough to be able to get an ID. And again, if you're an American, I want you to vote.
And absentee voting.
With a voter ID law fully implemented and the 2016 election around the corner, activists like Anita Johnson press on.
Good to see you.
No one can predict if the 7 to 12% of the electorate affected by the law will be able to obtain the proper ID and vote.
That's what they do. They just show that.
But with past elections in the state decided by a fraction of those figures, experts say the law could potentially turn an election in Wisconsin. Jeff Swycord,
Good to see you. Good to see you.
VOA News, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And in our Music Maker segment today, we welcome Micheline Ewang, a Cameroonian artist based here in Washington, D.C. Micheline uses her African roots to blend her neo-Afro jazz music. Micheline, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Esther.
It's good to see you. Thank you so much. And tell us a little bit about one of your best album, Disongo. It's a hit here in the diaspora. What is it about?
Thank you. Disongo is the first album I just produced almost 2 years ago now. And Disongo is about peace. In my tradition, Disongo means peace. It's a peaceful dance, and I use the song Disongo to show the world about what is going on around, and I'm calling people, being in peace, accepting each other, difference of religion.
Especially thinking about all these conflicts
Boko
that we
Haram
have.
war, religions, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And how long have you performed here within the diaspora? How is your music doing so far?
I think I can be ungrateful. I can say it's doing great. It's 2 years, almost 2 years that I produced the album. I've never stopped. I just came back from Europe, and soon I'll be in Canada. Here is going very well.
You say you're going to be in Canada. What is going on in Canada? You have some event going on?
Yes, in Canada we have the African Women Festival, le Festival de la Femme d'ici et d'ailleurs. Is a spot where they expose women, African women, to come and showcase their talent.
And reading a little bit about your bio, I see that there has been a little pain in your life, and everybody goes through some things. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your campaign for women facing domestic violence and other people. I mean, it's not just women, children, men as well.
Yeah, I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I use music to pass my message around, to show. I use my face to say, I've been abused, but look at what I am today, and if I'm here, you can be there too. So it's to empower most women.
Is that why in the Disongo song, there's one of those songs that kind of fills you with a lot of emotions, as, you know, with what you sing, and perhaps we can see a little bit. Yes, I think that's what it means, Ikwore.
Ikwore means the key, is the key for freedom. So Ikwore is my life, is what I went through for 9 years, and I put it in a song.
Do you get to perform back in Cameroon? Because I know that there you speak both English and French and other native languages. How is the performance there? Have you been there lately?
I was there last December with my godfather, who is Henri Dikonge, one great singer from Cameroon. It was nice.
Let's watch a little bit of that music.
Thank you.
Micheline. Wonderful music right there,
Thank
Micheline.
you.
Thank you so much. That's the call for peace.
Yes.
Especially given what's going on around the world today.
Yes.
Micheline, thank you so much for making our Music Maker segment fantastic. And to learn more about the talented Micheline Ewang and her neo-Afro jazz music, visit Facebook and type in the keywords Micheline Ewang. It's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. Jon Stewart signs off from The Daily Show. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In Ethiopia, South Sudan peace talks begin again as leaders meet in the capital Addis Ababa, trying to reach a peace deal by August 17. Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf meets with UN Special Envoy to discuss the response to the Ebola outbreak. Army generals from Chad and Cameroon meet to discuss the fight against Boko Haram after 135 people were kidnapped earlier this week. The Libyan Coast Guard is searching for survivors off its coast after receiving news a smuggler's boat with 700 migrants aboard had sunk. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Here is what is trending. It's the end of an era. Jon Stewart said goodbye to The Daily Show on Thursday. America's foremost satirist of politicians and the media ushered out with a reunion of the many colleagues that he worked with during his 16 years as host. Leaving the studio for the last time, Stewart waved the fans as he walked towards his waiting SUV with his family. He announced last winter that he was getting restless and it was time to move on. South African comedian Trevor Noah replaces him as host next month. And that is what is trending today. That's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune into VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC, and in the morning to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks for watching, and good night from Washington.
Music is something that brings people together.
Music educates, it motivates, it's a bridge.
Music. Ali.
On.
VOA.
qubanaha VOA waxaan ku soo gudbinnaa qubanayaal goosgoos oo xiiso badan oo ku saabsan arrimaha Soomaaliya, Mareykanka iyo caalamkaba.
haddaba qubanaha VOA da kala soco website-keena voasomali.com.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report.
I'm Milar Sega. I'm the host of VOA's The Correspondents.
A roundup of the world's top stories.
Here's a false choice in more ways than one.
We can't actually put you there, but we can come pretty close. In 30 minutes, we'll show you the world.